We have a handicapped child, but it is a boy, and about 3 years ago he had an oncological disease, and as a result of that, now he's handicapped. He uses a wheelchair, and he's not able to walk by himself. So at that point of time, we have tried to explain to him why he is not able to walk as other children can. It is easier to explain to a child while using some fairy tales, some stories, cartoons. Actually, together with my wife, we found out that here in Russia, we have no stories, we have no cartoons, we have nothing at all. In order to explain to our child that he's handicapped, but nothing wrong is with him. So the idea of my wife was to create a fairy tale. And then it was just like transformed into the idea of a cartoon as we are working on right now today.
Does your son go to a normal school?
Actually, due to the Russian system of education, he's too young to go to a school, but he goes to a normal kindergarten. It was quite a fantastic story as well, as far as we considered that Russian kindergartens, they are not suitable for handicapped children. And then we were asked just to try, just to come, just to spend one day. And after that, we, together with the people who are working in this kindergarten, we decided that we can try. Now my wife spends some time together with my son in the kindergarten as a tutor, but actually it is kind of exception.
Why could your son not go to the kindergarten at the beginning?
The starting point, they had nothing, and by the moment they have nothing. My wife just brings up the wheelchair from the ground floor to the first floor by her own, without any special equipment or instruments.
What do other parents with children who are wheelchair users do? Do they go to separate schools?
Well, actually, there are several options. First of them is most widespread. It is like home education or distant education. The second option is, we can call it like a special school, but unfortunately, it is outdated institution. We believe in the inclusive education, and luckily we have several schools by the moment in Moscow, and the system is developing, but it is developing really, really slow.
Now, I looked at your project and it looks like something that's full of joy and fun and light for children. Is that something you wanted to get across?
Our main message is to children. Nothing happened to you so serious that you cannot be a part of society. You can be a part of a team, a part of a school group or a kindergarten group, and you can spend time with such fun as other children do. So we do believe that providing such instrument as a cartoon to the children, we can just explain. Everything is fine. Don't worry. Just go ahead.
That's lovely. Why do you have this attitude towards disability that's different from some other parents in Moscow? Where did it come from?
We do believe that there is nothing special with our child. We shouldn't spend too much time with him. We should just give him an opportunity to be himself and to develop by himself. At a certain point of time, we would like him to become an independent guy who will go to university, probably to European university, somewhere in Vienna where he was treated or somewhere else.
That was Sergei Potanin about his film project aimed at making disability more acceptable in Russia. Next, I talked to Denise Rosa, who runs the Perspectiva Disability Charity in Moscow, for the bigger picture. I asked Denise to tell us about the state of inclusive education in Russia today.
Well, I think today there is a lot more energy and movement and promotion of inclusive education. Parents are joining the movement. This is something that we as a Perspectiva, as a disability nonprofit, has been promoting for about 8 years. And so we're very excited to see that there are parents coming up with creative ideas of ways to change attitudes, because that's still a problem. You still have the majority of kids with disabilities in separate schools or studying at home, or you have kids who are blind, who are deaf, they're also in separate schools. So although there are a lot of good things happening today, because we do see schools that are finally becoming accessible, and we have schools that are including kids with disabilities. There are teacher training programs for teachers about inclusive education in Moscow and in a few other cities. There are pilot schools in many cities of Russia. So there are very many positive things happening. You have more and more specialists. People understand about inclusive education. And it's very important that, as I said, there are parents are finally on board, because activism, it's not very common in Russia. There are changes happening. We're feeling a lot more changes recently. But so this is good that parents are on board and they're actually thinking of ways to improve the lives of their kids, and they're taking action.
Denise Rosa of the Perspectiva charity in Moscow. Meanwhile, Sergei Potanin makes sure to explain to their son's friends at nursery that he's just the same as them, though people on the streets of Moscow still stare at a child in a wheelchair.
Each day we explain to the friends of him that everything is fine. He just uses the wheelchair as they use their legs to run. For example, in the nursery, now no questions are coming from the children who know him, but each new person, each new child who is coming to a group or who is coming to nursery, who meets him on the street, it is still huge eyes and wow, just look at him. He's handicapped.